help your club get underway with Clubmark NI, there is a useful resources section within the Clubmark NI webpage. This resources section includes templates for policies and practices, and also some useful how-to videos which will provide your club with an insight into some of the key areas of Clubmark NI.
A good quality club would be expected to have insurance, they're expected to be affiliated to their governing body and also have an open and non-discriminatory constitution. Your governing body can advise you in terms of getting insurance, or else you can contact a reputable insurer. There is a sample template on the Sport Northern Ireland website that you can use if you need a constitution, and you can also contact your governing body in terms of getting affiliation sorted.
Well, more and more young people with disabilities are looking to access sporting opportunities at a local level, and that means going along to their local sports clubs so they can train alongside their non-disabled friends. So it's important that sports clubs are planning ahead and looking how they can become more inclusive of young people with disabilities.
We provide multi-sports and athletics opportunities for kids with a learning disability and physical disabilities in Newton Abbey. In terms of participation, it's vitally important to get our kids out and get them integrated and get them introduced into sport. You can hear they're very noisy in the background. Camaraderie in sport is vitally important within Special Olympics. It's all about the taking part rather than the winning necessarily.
I mean, we're trying to obviously be an inclusive club, and I think one of the keys with the disabled swimmers is, we want to just try and treat them. They want to be treated as competitors, as swimmers, and not treated for their disabilities. So I mean, we integrate them into our main squads. There's not a separate section. They come in and they train at the level that they're capable of training at, and I think it's worked really well. Adam Johnson, who's one of our disabled swimmers, just been selected for the Ulster squad to go over to the disability games in the UK, and I think that's a reflection on the fact that he can be in and pushing himself against able-bodied swimmers.
The coaches, officials and volunteers who are involved in running sports clubs need to have a very strong communication plan with regards to communicating with the players, the participants and the performers within the clubs. Building links with parents and providing communication is an essential element of any sports club.
Because the parents are normally only linked to one club, they don't realise that there's a great difference in how clubs are run across the country. But when we say to them with the Gold Clubmark, they say, well, we can understand why, because we really attempt to keep the parents on board. We interact with them and we make sure they feel part of the whole club, and it's very inclusive.
One of the things that we have noticed primarily, and it's been a great boost to the club, is we have a parents working group, and basically the parents have came on board and they assist us when we run events, competitions, we do displays. They have came on board and they've really lightened the load that the main committee has to deal with. And I think one of the other things about bringing the parents on board is they bring on board with them their skills that they have in the outside world. So for example, you could get someone who's particularly good at computers, does the website for the club, someone who likes doing a bit of photography, takes the photographs at any competition we go to.
We've always set high standards and been highly thought of in the branch, in the Northern Ireland branch. And what we decided was that we needed some sort of charter mark, just to sort of say that we were good for the likes of the public or even the centre here. And it's a nice thing to be able to say to people that for many years, for I think about 10 years, we were the only swimming and life-saving club that actually had a club mark. The importance of it, parents know now that they don't just have to believe us saying that we're good. They've got the club mark to support that.
One of the key aspects of Clubmark NI is supporting clubs to establish development plans for their club. These development plans provide a vision and a direction for that club, where they want to go, and also step-by-step approach to how they're going to achieve that. A key element of any development plan for a club is engaging all the club's membership, because it will be these members who help to deliver it.
One of the elements of our business plan was that the facility was very much for the community. We've come from what was a sleepy little club with maybe 200 people, which, to be honest, was run by a few people with very little responsibility. We didn't owe anybody any money. We didn't have to make the place pay for itself. We weren't obliged to anybody for any funding and meeting any KPIs associated with that. Into this building, where we very much are responsible for giving a return in terms of people through the doors and experience and sailing, etc., etc. So it's been a big help to us, and having the accreditation in place and all the elements that go to meeting that accreditation are absolutely things that we needed to do and need to do on an ongoing basis.
One of the big things that we have noticed through it is we were able to put in better policies and procedures in our club, better structures. We actually have a coach education programme up and running for our coaches, and we've also opened ourselves out towards the community a lot more. Part of our development plan was to bring girls into the club, or more girls into the club. We had a small wee group of about 4 or 5, and we've suddenly expanded to about 20, so we have, since we've started introducing our first kicks programme with the help of Dungannon Council and active communities coaches from Sport NI. There's no hockey team in the community, there's no netball team, there's nothing really for the girls in a sporting aspect. Yes, we have the dance and everything, but in terms of a team sport, there was nothing in the community, so we decided that we would try the first kicks programme, and so far so good. It's been very successful.
As part of our sort of strategic plan, we looked at what accreditation we could get. Everybody has to move with the times. It's a different environment now. You know, parents, both of them are out working, there's not as many volunteers, and I think people have to run sports clubs as businesses now, and we see that in Ulster Rugby and in Gaelic and GAA, and people are starting to realise you've got to have all of the right policy and procedures in place, the right accreditation in place in order to protect everybody. And Clubmark does this in a very sort of concise way. It's nearly in bullet point form. You've got all of the leaflets and information that you need that you can use whenever you need to.
92% of sports clubs in Northern Ireland can exist without volunteers, so they really are the most valuable and often only resource that sports clubs have. So the aim of good practice in volunteer management is to maximise that resource in a mutually beneficial way, so that not only the organisation meets its objectives, but the volunteers, they achieve their expectations and interests are met. We would say look at a volunteer policy. That's your first stepping stone into how the club promote and manage their volunteering, and it also then clearly sets out to any service users, sports clubs, members, the public, the role of volunteers within that organisation.
We needed more volunteers, we needed to have a more formal approach to training them. So Clubmark helped us in that. Clubmark helped us get those volunteers onto courses. For example, the first aid course, or safeguarding children, child protection safety, financial management of the club. We needed guidance in just about every direction you could think of, and Clubmark really assisted in every direction.
Clubmark's made a great impact on the volunteering situation within Dromore. The parents now volunteer readily and are very keen to provide tray bakes, tea and coffee at friendly matches. The parents have also volunteered to manage the several teams via the Clubmark, and we have sent our committee on the volunteering course through the Clubmark.
Everybody's well aware that the crucial role that coaches play within a quality club setting, and I think the challenge for clubs is to try and match the right coaches with the right participants and put a system in place which will retain them within the club setting. I think one of the crucial things, both from the coach's perspective and the club's perspective, is that there's clear role descriptions for the coach to make sure that they're not being asked to do 101 different things, and also that they're not being tasked with coaching 30, 40, 50 kids at once. So they're sticking to clear governing body ratios, be that 1 to 12, 1 to 20, whatever the governing body would suggest.
If you're getting bigger numbers, you have to have the structures to cater for it, and one of the things in Clubmark is that we have set up subcommittees and various coaching structures and able to cope with the demand. As you see here today, there's a number of coaches here to coach the children, and as I speak, there's another 4 away with another group at a tournament, so we have plenty of coaches to work with this. And one thing Clubmark will do is encourage and enroach other people to get involved and work at the club. Clubs, the biggest resource to any club are people.
Well, we have put a big emphasis on our coaching over the last 15 years, and we're in a great position of having 12 qualified coaches right through from level 1 up to level 3. But we've also got a lot of voluntary coaches who've done an introduction to cricket coaching course. So we want to put good coaching ratios in place so that you know, a child has got a good chance to improve. And basically that's our secret: quality coaches, lots of them, and everybody, you know, mucking in to make sure that the child in front of you gets every chance to enjoy themselves and hopefully perform.
High quality coaching of children is vital in any junior sports club. It's the key service they deliver for the kids in their club. In order to ensure a level of quality with junior coaching, it's important that clubs have a clear coaching plan that runs across the club. This should reflect the participants' needs at the particular stage of development. For more information on that, you can see your governing body or also access some of the coaching children workshops provided by Sport Northern Ireland.
We want to make sure that each kid is getting a chance to progress, and what we've done now is we've put an overview of all our coaching sessions to make sure that when a child comes in as a 5-6-year-old, there's development all the way through and there's a bit of cohesion. So all the coaches that he would work with can they know the pathway throughout the club, and that child will hopefully have a progression rather than a pathway that was a wee bit bitty or a wee bit sort of put together in a haphazard fashion. We really have smartened that up, and we've got a good flow, we feel, right the whole way through all the age groups.
In line with the Irish FA, we are now delivering age-specific coaching, and that's structured coaching. You can see behind us the under-8s who are playing 5-a-side football. Our under-9s play 7-a-side, under-10 7-a-side, 11s are playing 9-a-side. This is all non-competitive, so it's age-appropriate coaching that we're doing right through the age groups.
I took over the youth setup about 7-8 years ago, along with another couple of guys. There's 5 real strong guys here in the background who work, we all sort of work at the same level. And we started off, our mini soccer school used to have about 20 kids in it, 25 kids. We had 2 or 3 youth teams, and we just gradually grown and grown. 2 years ago we decided to take on the Clubmark Award, and at that stage we only had about 60-65 kids in our soccer school, and now we have approximately 80, and we have 120 now registered in with our soccer school. And in terms of teams, we have an under 18, under 16, 15, 14, 13 and 11 team now as well, all playing in competitive leagues.
The NSPCC's Child Protection and Sport Unit have worked very closely with Sport NI to embed safeguarding throughout all the Clubmark NI criteria. And the importance for the parents is to be reassured when they're sending their young people along to clubs that clubs have made every effort to ensure that they've taken safe recruitment procedures and seriously embedded codes of conduct and have clear reporting procedures should any young people or parents have any particular concerns. It's important within each club that they actually allocate or appoint a designated person for safeguarding young people, and also that person receives adequate training, and that all other coaches who are working directly with young people have attended safeguarding training so they get the clear message of what the ethics and values are for working with young people.
Our designated officer, our welfare officer, is Diane. She's one of the parents and one of our strongest volunteers, and she's been doing a lot of work voluntary for us. But since doing the Clubmark, she's gone on different courses. She's done her first aid course and done her child protection course and everything that goes along with the Clubmark.
The safety is paramount at the club. Number one, the facilities have to be right for the kids. The changing first when they come out then to the pitches, we check all the pitches are right. All the equipment they use is right. We keep it all up to date. Tackle bags, ruck bags, first aid kits, everything. So everything is in place for the kids to have a safe environment to play in. If there's any incidents, they're sorted out. There's no issue, and all the child protection's in house.
Through Clubmark, there are a number of different opportunities to put a communication plan in place. For example, when a new child is coming to a club to take part, an induction process whereby they're able to provide with all the information regarding club policies and procedures. Likewise, with regards to coaches or volunteers who are new to the club, providing them with an induction pack or an induction process will also help the communication with regards to what the club is about, what their role is within the club, and what they can expect from being a volunteer or a member of that particular organisation.
The codes of conduct for me are very important. Just adds that professionalism to your club, and it just makes sure that, you know, if anything was to go wrong, you've always something to relate back to. You have to have ones covering the players, you have to have ones covering the parents, and you have to have ones covering the officials or say the coaches as well. Outside that, you're talking about, you know, how you recruit your coaches and your codes of conduct for your child protection and so on. But we were quite proactive, to be honest, and we had most in place.
Within junior sports clubs, it's vital that we provide safe environments for young people to participate. Some of the key aspects of this are looking at venues, equipment, and also the people that we have involved. To support clubs to provide these safe environments, there are templates in the resources section of the Clubmark NI webpage, looking at risk assessment, looking at the management of incidents and accidents, and also looking at how those incidents and accidents can be recorded.
We have a club meeting once every month, and obviously things that are discussed, health and safety, the way we manage the organisation, coaching opportunities. We have now documented the safety procedures. We have copies in the boathouse. We have risk assessments for all of the environments that we paddle in. We've one here for the foil and for the sea and for various races we have. And it means that our members have a sort of a checklist of the things that they should be looking for in terms of running an event, and they're fairly well sticking to it.
Every time I come and do a training session, I make sure that everything is, that the court's up to snuff, that everything's out of the way, there's nothing that they could trip over or anything like that. Make sure obviously lights are on, that sort of thing. I make sure I have as much information about the players, so if any of them have asthma or any of them are allergic to anything, I have that information, so when they come up to me and they can't breathe, I know what to do. Also make sure, you know, if we're playing a game and they all need a basketball, and then after that they don't need a basketball, then all the basketballs are put away safely so they're not going to trip over it. Just to me, you have to constantly be aware of any obstacles that could cause an injury or anything.